Hello, I'm Mark Camoccio and I'm here on a rather nice day at Pete's Airgun farm. I'm here to show you one of the new Webleys. I say new, but I first saw this at the last British shooting show, and it was alongside its larger brother, and it's the Webley VMX. They had the classic, which is the adult version. This is the Webley VMX Cub, and it's quite an important rifle in my book because it's aimed at juniors. As you can see, it's a beautifully scaled down spring piston break barrel airgun, and of course it's aimed at the juniors and youngsters that are going to hopefully get into our sport. Of course, it is vital that we attract young blood into air guns, and this is one of the guns that's going to do that job. I have to say, it's quite heartening that more and more manufacturers are bringing out their own dedicated junior guns. But this is a real classic example of how to do it. So as you can see, you've got it's got a nice traditional sporter stock, but that is completely scaled down, so it's a good few inches shorter than the adult version. You can see that the grip is all scaled down as well, so smaller hands can really get to grips with that. Nicely slimmed down, but it's all in scale as well, so it's designed for smaller hands. You've got some nice features on here. So I don't forget, it's only also producing around 5.5 foot-pounds, so it's deliberately low powered. And again, if you're just starting in air guns, you don't need high power. What you want is some good inherent accuracy in the gun, and some nice features that you can use. So as I say, it's only doing relatively low power, but it's still pretty accurate, and I'll come to that. So it's a nice traditional spring piston gun. You've got nice chemical bluing on the barrel and all the receiver, synthetic trigger guard, metal trigger, then you've got a synthetic moulding at the fore end, which is obviously also, it acts as a barrel aid, cocking aid, but it's also got the fibre optics which are all built in. So you've got a red element at the front, and you've got a nice finger wheel usable rear sight, and you've got green elements there, so you've got your fibre optics paired up. They're quite nice to use in quite dull conditions, so it makes use of the light. So if you never use fibre optics, they're quite a big advance over the old-fashioned iron sights, and it's a great feature as a standard feature on a junior rifle. I mean, let's face it, most juniors that buy this are going to start with the open sights and then maybe progress to a scope. If you want to fit a scope, you've got dovetails there, and you've also got a built-in arrestor block, which is a really nice feature. So you set your mounts right up against that, and that means that there's going to be some recoil on this because it's a spring-powered gun. The scope can't move back because it's actually going to sit right against that little plate there. So that's a nice feature. Attention to detail goes further than that because you've got a breech adjuster. There's a little bolt inside there, so if you breech over time, I mean, you're talking a good few years down the line, but it may get a bit slack on the breech, which is a weakness of brake barrels, and you can nip up the bolt, and then there's a keeper screw to keep everything in place, so all very nicely done. So you've got your traditional brake barrel action, like so you'll be compressing the spring. Inside here it's got the power lock mainspring, which is a throw over from Venom's association with Webley, so it's sort of a technical mainspring which is made of better steel than some of the rivals. You've got an automatic safety catch at the rear, which is very similar to the old Webley Amiga style, so a bit of a nod to their past there. The trigger, obviously, because of that low power, everything is easier, so the cocking effort is easier, which of course is great for youngsters, but also there's less loading on the trigger, so although it's only a basic sort of probably 2 or 3 components inside, with the sears, there's less loading, so it's not a bad trigger at all. It's not going to hold back so much weight as such. So yeah, all in all, it's a rather nice gun. Quite an attractive sporter stock. You've got machine laser cut checkering, nice rubber butt pad, so everything you need there to get started in air guns. So this is a dedicated junior rifle. That's the Webley VMX Cub.